Hi everyone, I wanted to talk about dealing with difficult times. Those times when we feel self-doubt, we don't know what's really going on, and we ask questions like, why is this happening to me? Things of that sort. And what you may have noticed, because it's probably not the first time that you've dealt with hard times, difficult circumstances, someone has passed away, someone close to you, a dream or a project that you were working on has collapsed, or maybe there's been some problems with like a friend group, this kind of thing, and so we might feel lonely, disconnected, incapable, whatever it is. Now, if you look back to the times in the past where you were dealing with the same questions of making sense of things, and we get caught up in this thinking like, why me? And you might even get into some narratives that are quite negative, like, well, it's because I'm not good enough, for instance. When you go back to those times, it didn't make sense. But when you look back at them from your perspective now, hopefully, if you've healed from them and integrated those experiences, you see that there was a wider meaning and a wider explanation for why that was happening. And although it was a bad time for you, you feel a sense of gratitude and a sense that you've drawn lessons from it that are very useful. And so the same could be said of the times that you're going through now, whatever they may be. And that can give you some hope for the future. The world works in weirdly contradictory ways. So, for example, if you're really into just enjoying pleasure in life, eating some sweets, watching Netflix, just soothing the body in some way that isn't like too healthy, you could say, then although that feels good, it maybe gives you more brain fog, it affects your sleep, it doesn't make you as good at working, or you can't focus. And likewise, if you go through some pain, whether it's the pain of going to the gym to build up your body, or some pain like a traumatic event, there is a potential in the pain to access more healthy, sustainable, and wider pleasures in life. So understand that when you're dealing with one side of the coin, the other side of the coin is still there, and that applies to when you're dealing with pain and some difficult circumstances. So in short, it's okay to not understand where you are at the moment, but to know as well from past experience that you can be hopeful about it and that something good will come out of it for you. And this is really important to emphasize. It's a really big picture thing that applies so much, but a great deal of emotional suffering comes from conditioning from society. So babies aren't born depressed, anxious, feeling lonely, feeling unworthy or incapable. They're just babies, right? And they're just babying. They're doing their thing. But then through a whole host of experiences, whether it's neglect or conditioning, and we start absorbing messages about what's good and what's not so good, what success is, we start comparing ourselves to that and relating ourselves to it. So we've built up this narrative of how we should be, but we've also got this core nature that has been with us since we were a baby. And that core is still there, but it gets kind of caked and layered on by conditioning. So in other words as well, you can just observe the thoughts that you're having and the emotions they're giving you in your body. The chest is tight, you're not feeling good, you feel kind of sick in your stomach, you feel a headache coming on, all these kinds of things. You can understand too that you are not at the core your thoughts and feelings, because they're entangled together through the process of conditioning. And life, in terms of overcoming suffering more and more and having a more balanced, meaningful and pleasurable existence, is about widening the scope of your perspective of that and seeing through the limitations of the way that you were thinking or have been taught to think. And that recontextualization, that widening of the scope, can put things into perspective and help you to be more comfortable in your own skin. Because you're you, I'm me at the core. And so it's important to bear in mind that you can just observe your thoughts and your feelings, and that although it can feel uncomfortable to be still and do that, otherwise, we're caught up in habits or we're thinking all the time, and it's you've probably noticed it's like a loop. So being still and just observing that can heal you, it can widen your perspective, and in the meantime then, while you're figuring things out, you can hold out that hope that answers and that recontextualization that will make this suffering worth it and have meaning. That will come at a later time. There's an interesting symbolism in the idea of Christ on the cross. And as you might know, after Jesus was crucified and went through the suffering, and he gets reborn again. Symbolically, we get reborn again through suffering. But you also have to deal with that in the right way. You may also have noticed that people are caught up in patterns as well, and they've been caught up in those patterns for years, and they haven't made a change in their worldview and their beliefs, and so they're stuck in resentment, they're stuck in addiction. And so by having hope in the process and being willing and open-minded and being able to be still, you really increase the chances of making it to the next level in your life, of well-being, of perspective, of attaining your dreams. So I hope that this can help. Everything happens for a reason, at least in my opinion. And I hope that this helped, and have a great day.